It is now the end of April. Spring is actually finally upon us here in Scandinavia. Sun is coming out and we're passing more than 10 degrees Celsius, so it's a happy time. Also, of course, I'm still in my trusty Web Manuals hoodie, as always, because else you wouldn't recognize me. And I have a good one for you, and I'm going to do a new thing, something we've never tried before. I'm going to give you a preview. Just a tiny sliver of something that's coming that I know a lot of you are waiting for, and that probably will be in the next release. The reason I'm saying that is because we built everything in the back end and we are very, very happy to see it out or coming out. So it's not out yet, but hopefully next month, and that is our signatures in forms. I know so many of you have been waiting for that specific item. In general, it allows you to add a field in the form. When it's used, then it will open up a little drawing pad where people can then write in a signature. That signature will then be sent with the form, and in the form repository, you will be able to see a little check mark if somebody has actually filled in the signature. So we're very much looking forward to that. It's working on our end before the release in the web manuals in the browser, but we're just making sure that it works correctly in the app as well before we send it out to everybody. Now let's move on with the other improvements. So we're now changing the way we handle compliance libraries a little bit. Many of you will not notice, but we're changing it so that less invisible changes are actually shown in the compliance library. So you should get less changes that are actually invisible changes. If characters have changed that you can't actually see and things like that, then you won't see it because our system just handles it in a better way. Also, uploading a transmittal letter or the signature file through the revision archive will now actually correctly request a PDF file. We had issues with people uploading wrong types of files and it did not like that. So now it takes a PDF file. Let's move on and have a look at a few bug fixes. Now, first off, this is actually not a real bug fix, but more of an improvement as well, a little bit in between, but it fits well here. So send reminders. When you're choosing to send reminders in your control, you actually now have an extra choice. You can choose to send reminders to all users as per usual, but you can also choose to only send reminders to the people who has not read the document. That should make it a lot more lean and easier to target the people that you actually need to tell, hey, please go and read that document. Also, sorting in the reader, sorting columns for documents or libraries will actually now continue to work even though you press the sort column 3 or more times. It was an issue we found. It's not something that a lot of people have noticed, I reckon, but it's good to know and it's good to get that taken care of. So now you can sort to your heart's content. And the last one of the bug fixes, we fixed an issue that caused files packaged for EFB to not be downloadable in rare certain instances. And now that's fixed, so making sure that the packager works correctly and you can actually download your documents correctly. Besides that, we fixed a lot of smaller UI issues that was caused where some of the items were misaligned. It was caused by a previous item we updated, and that should now all be taken care of. That's all I had on the browser reader. Let's move on and have a chat about the reader app. We are very happy to release version 1.2 for all of you. It's a major milestone for us here at Web Manuals, and it's really the end of an era of the early part of the new Reader app. And we're very much looking forward to bringing you bigger and better things. Let's have a look at a few improvements. First off, the sidebar will no longer overlap your content, or well, it will, because you know that's how it always looks and we don't have the real estate to work with it. But if you turn your device to landscape mode, then your sidebar will sit snugly next to your content and you will be able to see both and work in both at the same time. Also, your background image on the login screen, if you have a custom background image for that, we are now making sure that it fits snugly and looks good no matter what. And the last improvement here, manuals repackaged from our side to ensure that they turn up even if a document has not been changed. If you made design changes to it, we can now cause the document to be repackaged on our side and actually send an update notification to the devices of your users, making sure that the users actually download the newest version and see the new visual changes that might have been added to it. And for a few bug fixes, we fixed it so that uploading an image from the device camera to a form no longer resets the form. So if somebody had been filling in a lot in the form, then take a picture with the device camera, go back to the form. Previously, the form would be empty. That makes people sad. That is now fixed, so now they will have all of that content and they can actually work properly. Also, large PDF files will no longer crash the app. That's good. And the download will be much faster. And another thing, in an announcement, if you have a link to a document, clicking that link to the document will now correctly take you to the documents, instead of before where it did not actually correctly open up the documents. Forms will no longer be empty. If you're filling in a form and you switch to a document to see something and then back to the form, previously the forms would be empty. They will now contain all of the data that you filled in to make life easier and to not make forms clunky. Search will now correctly redirect the user to the first hit in the document instead of taking the user to the first page. So searching in general will be a lot easier. This ties into our whole new search rebuild that we're talking about a lot these days. PDF files that your users read in the app and check out in the app will now be correctly checked out, and it will be correctly monitored in web manuals. So it will actually come up as the user have read this document now, so they don't have to read it again in the browser. And the last one here, documents removed from My Documents in the app will now be correctly removed from My Documents instead of just a list that caused the document to show up again after you refresh. Besides this, we've done several other improvements in the background that you won't see, hopefully not even notice, because things will just move a lot smoother and faster. And of course, in this release of 1.2, as I mentioned, we are completely reworking the search functionality, making your search a lot faster, a lot better. You're getting better results, and it should just be a lot more intuitive. And the most important thing is, in version 1.2, this is where we include our Amelia AI search functionalities. So please reach out if you want to know more about that. We wish you a wonderful day and a continued amazing spring. Bye.